Awesome. And I'm going to share my screen. Awesome. Dragna, you can see my screen, right? Okay. Okay. Awesome. So thank you so much, all of you who registered for this workshop, Discover Human Design, and welcome who joined us live, and also all of us who are watching us on replay. This information is very powerful. Absolutely. When I learned about my human design, it was a transformational moment in my career, in my personal growth journey. And ever since, I have been so fascinated by this information that I got certified in almost level one, level two, level three certifications of human design. And I have made it my mission, to bring this information out to people, to entrepreneurs, to creatives, to moms, to professionals, no matter what phase of life you are in, no matter what career you're in. This information is something which can benefit, anybody. In fact, not just adults, but even like for kids, if you're parents, definitely you can help your kids. So let's begin. So before we begin, I would love to begin with this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes by the author and motivational speaker Bill Gove. He says that if I want to be free, I have got to be me. Not the me you think I should be, not the me I think my wife thinks I should be, not the me I think my kids think I should be. If I want to be free, I have got to be me, so I better know who me is. And isn't this fascinating? We go through our entire life without really understanding our true essence, our true nature, without, living our truth. Because what people do is that when they don't live, true to themselves, when they are trying to be somebody they are not, and when they are told to do things, certain things which are not as per their energy type, and that's when they hold themselves back from living their fullest potential. They try to shrink themselves, and that's when they see all this frustration, all the pain, and all the suffering in all areas of their life, because they are not living their truth. They're not being true to themselves. So human design is fascinating in that sense, because it takes that suffering out of you. It helps you to understand, who you're meant to be on this planet. How are you supposed to live your truth? What are the things you need to do so that whatever you do in life, everything becomes effortless? And it takes that suffering out of mistaken identity, because that's what we all are living in, this mistaken identity, because that's how we've been conditioned, since birth. Like, we have to be like somebody else. And if you're not doing certain things to achieve that success or to that growth, then we are being criticized, right? And it starts with parents, it starts at home. And that's why this information is so powerful. It lets us know that we don't have to be like somebody else. We just have to know who we are so that we can be empowered in that version of ourselves. So that's why this whole system is absolutely fascinating in that sense. Is It's not like a personality test, or it's not like you must have heard about other like Myers-Briggs and all the other things. They are just they let you know about your strengths, your inherent like traits. But human design is different, because it gives you a roadmap to live your life the way you are authentically designed, the way you're naturally designed to live on this planet. So now, so the big question is, what is human design, right? That's the most fundamental question. What is the system? So basically, human design is the science of an aura. So if you look at these pictures, so this gentleman over here with spectacles, he is Sam Kurlian, and in the 1930s, like 1935, he developed this a very special kind of photography, which is called the Kirlian photography. And what he did was that when he took pictures, he was able to capture the aura. the energy body which surrounds any person, any matter, any plant, any animal. And if you see in these pictures, you can see this beautiful, this electromagnetic body. And now, like, even if you see Joe Dispenza, if you heard about him, he also does a lot of work which deals with the electromagnetic field, which is always surrounding us. So this aura, we all have it. And this is one of the latest pictures. Like if you go to any aura photography studio, they will get this picture, and then there'll be different colors depending on which energy system, which chakras is predominant in your body. Those colors will tend to show up in the pictures. So yes, so we all have an aura, which is our energy body all around us. So on the top, the bottom, the sides, the front, and the back. And this aura is almost like 6 to 9 feet in arm's length. It's like this bubble all around us. And each and every person's aura has a unique way of operating in this world, right? And human design tells you exactly how your aura likes to function. And once you align yourself, once you get in sync with that functioning, with that energy type, you realize that you start living authentically. You start attracting opportunities with ease. Life just feels like wonderful. Life just feels in flow. You feel very empowered in who you are. And that's when you're able to achieve all the goals, all the things which you have set for yourself in your life, because now you're just living energetically correct the way you are supposed to exchange energy with the world. And if you look at quantum physics, like everything is like an energetic exchange. So if you look at your body, if you look at your skin, if you look at your cells, and if you look under the microscope, each and every cells are composed of atoms, and they're all vibrating, they're all in motion. So if you observe everybody around you, whether it's other human beings, whether it's plants, whether it's table, chair, everything boils down to these vibrating atoms, right? So on a very molecular level, we are all the same, we are all energy beings, and the whole interaction in this world is all about this energetic exchange, right? So our auras are always talking to each other's auras. And that's when you meet a person for the first time, you must have noticed, you may not know the person, but as soon as you approach the person, you start getting a good vibe or like a very bad vibe about that person, right? Because your aura, as I said, it's like almost 6 feet ahead of you. So it's interacting with the aura of the other person, and it's sending you these signals to you. It's sending you these messages which tells you whether your energy, the frequency you're vibrating at, as I said, everything is vibrating atoms, whether it is similar to the other person, whether you both are going to gel, whether you both are going to be friends, or there's something off with that person, and it's going to be an energetic mismatch. The same thing happens with relationship, the same thing when you go on dates. Some people just put you off, but some people you feel the energetic connection. So this is how your auras talk to each other. And not just people, but even like places. If you visit certain places, like if you visit like very spiritual places, if you go to church or if you go to a temple or a mosque, you feel good because the vibration of that place is really good. When you go in that place, you feel good about it. As opposed to if you go to a graveyard, if you go to a cemetery, or if you go to hospitals, you don't feel good, right? In those places, that energy, your aura is picking up the energy of that place, and it's sending you that signal, like, there's something off about this place. And that's why nobody likes to visit hospitals or, graveyards or cemeteries. It's just because the way the auras are interacting, and it's already telling you. So that's how this interaction is always going on 24/7, right? Our energies are always interacting with the other energies. So that's why it's important to understand your energy, your aura, and how it likes to function. As I said, it's the science of your aura. Your aura has a particular way it likes to function. It has its own signature. And once you understand that, this information is going to be very, very transformative in a very short amount of time. So now, how are you inherently coded? Okay, so this is the fundamental question which human design answers for all of us. So if you look at this picture, there is an acorn, okay? And if you plant the acorn in the soil, given all the right conditions, guess what is going to happen? The acorn is going to turn into this majestic oak tree. So that means the acorn has a blueprint of an oak tree. So if you plant an acorn, it's not going to grow into a pine tree or a sandalwood tree or a mango tree. No, because it only has the blueprint to grow into a oak tree. Similarly, we as humans, we also have a blueprint within us. And when we understand this blueprint and we work with this blueprint, we can rise to that potential. We can be our own unique tree. We can be that majestic oak tree. We can be that empowered, like, that individual who is meant to do the things we are meant to do on this planet. Our soul is here for a purpose. It is meant to do certain things while it's living on this planet. And that's why human design tells you how are you inherently coded? What is your unique energetic blueprint, which only you have it. It's not similar to other person. It's your unique blueprint. The way the acorn has its own unique blueprint of becoming an oak tree. Similarly, you have your own unique blueprint of becoming that empowered version, that empowered, that human, that empowered your unique tree in this world. And that's why we're going to find out what is that blueprint which human design tells us. So now, before we move on and understand, what is that energetic blueprint, or in human design, we say the energy types. Before we understand that, let's understand these basic things about human design, what it does once you understand. Okay, so human design is a powerful deconditioning tool. What that means is, like, growing up, we were all conditioned. Like till the age of 7, we were a walking, talking subconscious mind. And whatever happened in our surrounding, we just absorbed it. And that's why the beliefs we have, the values we have, it's what we have taken it from our parents, from our peers, from our relatives, from our school system, what we heard on the radio or the television. And that's how we became conditioned in our childhood. And how many times have you heard growing up, like, money does not grow on tree. You have to work hard to earn money. Or like, or look at the other child, or look at the other person, how he is doing it and how he's so disciplined, and why are you not like that. So we were all conditioned growing up, and we didn't know anything else. As I said, till the age of 7, we are a walking, talking subconscious mind. So if you see this picture over here, it's like an open salad bowl. So our mind has two aspects. It's the conscious and the subconscious mind. So just imagine, like, I have a basketball on my head, year to year. You put it in half. The top is the conscious, bottom is subconscious, and everything neck below is the body. So this is just a representation of the mind, because our mind likes to think in terms of pictures. So if I tell you, think of a blue elephant, right? What comes to your mind? The picture of the blue elephant came in your mind. So this proves to you that your mind thinks in terms of pictures. And what we learned in school when we saw the organ, like the brain, that's the brain, that's the organ, but that's not a mind. So this Dr. Thurman, he came up with this picture of the mind, so that we can relate to what a mind looks like. So as I said, we have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind. Until the age of 7, as I said, our subconscious mind is open, because the conscious mind is not formed yet. It is only formed after the age of 8. And that's why this is a most classic example which anyone can relate. Like growing up as children, we all believed that Santa Claus left presents for us in the car. Under the tree, not in the car, but under the tree. And we just accepted it. And we would, like, look forward to Christmas morning. And we would be so delighted to find presents under the Christmas tree. And we actually believed that, yes, Santa Claus came down the chimney and, he kept presents for us. But it's only later on, after the age of 8, around 9, 10, when we are in middle school, we start to reject this information, this story, because our conscious mind has formed. This is like a prefrontal cortex which is formed, which is the reasoning mind. So now we can reason things out. And that's when we start reasoning that, hey, this is not real. This is just a story. There is no Santa Claus which actually comes, like, and puts the presents under the Christmas tree. It's just our parents. So this is the power of, like, conditioning. This is just one very, very good example of understanding how you were programmed when you were a child. So that's why human design helps you to let go of all this conditioning, let go of, like, what you have picked up, that this is how I should be, this is how I should do things. And instead, it empowers you to be authentic you. it empowers you with that blueprint which you're born, similar to the acorn, which has a blueprint of an oak tree. Similarly, human design helps you to understand what is the blueprint you're born with, which is unique to you, which is uniquely yours, and it helps you to understand that and helps you to decondition from whatever childhood programming, societal programming you were born with. So it helps you to shift from the person you think you are to the person you are, you actually are, the person you're born to be. So that's why this is very, very powerful. Also, human design is a very powerful self-awareness and a powerful self-transformation tool. As I said, you can have a transformation in a very, very short amount of time. So human design helps you to understand the reasons why you are the way you are. It helps you to understand the challenges which you're currently facing in your life. It helps you to understand what are the inborn gifts, strengths, talents you're born with, and how you can use them to create success in your life. It also gives you a glimpse into your life purpose. It helps you to discover, like, what is my life purpose? Why am I born on this planet? What am I meant to do? And it really empowers with you with a roadmap, with a practical roadmap to live an authentic, richer, and fuller life. So if you look at astrology which gives you like predictions, right? But human design gives you a roadmap. It tells you exactly how you're supposed to make decisions. It tells you exactly what is your unique strategy to attract all the success in your life. And once you just keep following that, everything is effortless. So now you may understand, like you may wonder, like, who am I? And I know many of you watching the recording, and those who are here live, like, what's my journey and like how did I come into this? So I'm from India. In 2003, I came to the US and I was a lawyer when I was in India. So I did my law studies. I was working with a law firm. And then after I got married, I came to the US in 2003, but I was on a spouse visa. And at that time, the spouses couldn't work. So yes, like, I did the best I could. For almost a decade, I was a stay-at-home mom. So I had to give up all my law studies and being a lawyer and just start over in this country. So first, I was a stay-at-home mom for over a decade, enjoyed my time with my girls, taught them sign language, taught them how to read. So really had a good time with them. But then there came a moment in my life when my kids, both my girls were in preschool, and I had this like time and this whole time with me, and like all these questions started coming to me, like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, is this it to life? Am I just supposed to stay at home and just wait for my girls to come home, just wait for my husband to come home, or is there more for me to do in this world? And that's when I discovered event planning, event design, because I used to do a lot of baby showers for my friends. I used to do a lot of events, and everybody started saying, like, Sheetal, you're so good at it. Why don't you start your own business? So that's when I got these signs. So human design, I didn't know at that time, but the universe was giving me signs, and it just really lit me up. And I was like, yes, why not? But then that time I also had a lot of limitations, limiting beliefs about myself. That hey, I'm from India. People understand my accent. I was almost like 40 at that time. So will people like hire me at this age? Will I make money? Like a lot of limitations, a lot of beliefs, limiting beliefs about myself. But still, I persevered. I had faith within me. I had faith in God. And I started my event planning business. And within like almost 2, 3 years, it was a great, great success. Like, I took it from $0, no experience in business, having learned everything what how to run a business, got certified in event design, wedding planning, all these beautiful things. I would work with corporations and quickly rose to six figures in my business. So all the dreams which I had, like, paying for my family's vacation, buying them gifts, contributing to the family finances, all those things happened. But then again, there was this time which came, like, which when I started asking these bigger questions, now what? Like, I wanted to earn money. I wanted to prove to myself that, hey, even at this age, I do have something of value. I did have my business. Like, I also became a best-selling co-author on Amazon. So I did accomplish a lot of things. But the question came, now what next? What's my final purpose? Like, am I supposed to just do events? Because that time it was getting very stressful. Is there a better way of living life? Does stress have to be a part of it? Can I do something else? And that's when I met a friend who was a life coach, and she really inspired me because she was helping all these beautiful people. And somewhere, something within me said, I think I need to be a coach. I don't know why it didn't make sense at the time. But then I just followed that nudge which came within me, and I went on this whole journey of understanding who am I. I wanted to understand who I am, and that's when I found human design. And I had this lady from Australia, so I just contacted her. I got my human design reading, and it was such a liberating moment for me because I had so many doubts about myself. To give you an example, like I used to go to these business conference for my events business, and every time I went, I would love to network, I would love to talk to people. But the moment that networking was done, I just wanted to go to my room and then not talk to anybody. So I felt like a fraud. I said, I know I like to I like to talk to people. I know I like to interact. But why is it that when it's done, I just want to go to my room and I just don't want to talk to anybody? Even my husband, my kids would call me and I would tell them, hey, I just can't talk right now. And that's when I realized human design told me that my profile is 2-4. So I'm a hermit, and I'm also a social butterfly. So I have these two, opposite personalities within me. So when I'm with people, I will be that social butterfly. I will go talk to people. I will go make friends. But I also need my alone time. So which is called the hermit. I need to be alone. I just need to be in my energy. And it's okay to embrace that. So when I finally understood about that, about myself, I was like, oh my God, this is so liberating. Finally, I can stop accusing myself of being a fraud and having to deal with this and now just be embraced. Like, hey, that whenever I feel like interacting, I'm going to go. But now I know it's done. It's okay for me to retreat back into my own space and just be alone. So yes, these are such examples, like, I understood. And also, yeah, the other most important thing human design told me was when I understood my energy. So my energy operates in a very, very different way. It's fast, it's quick, it's multi-passionate, interested in a lot of things. So when I was doing my events business, my mentors would tell me that she will just niche it down. And how many times have we heard from our mentors that we need to pick one thing and that's how we're going to create success in life or in business or whatever it is in our career? But somewhere my intuition, now my human design, after knowing my human design, I know my intuition is very strong. So somewhere my intuition used to tell me no, but I like to do event decor. I like to do design. I like to do planning. I like to do weddings. I like to do corporate events. So why am I stopping? Like, I don't want to stop. I want to do everything because it just gives me a taste and flavor. It keeps my business very exciting. I don't think I can just only pick weddings and just do weddings, for the rest of my life. I can't. And that's why, because I honored my gut, because I honored my intuition, that's why I was able to create success, like, take it to 6 figures in a very short time. And when I understood this about myself, when I understood human design, and when I understood that I am a multi passionate, energy type, that gave me permission, even in my current coaching business, to not just offer human design, but I'm also a mindset coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm also EFT practitioner. I also teach about manifestation. And this keeps my business very interesting and very authentic. And that's why I didn't let others box me up. Because being a multi passionate manifesting generator, as per human design, once I understood this about myself, it just gave me permission to be me. Like, I also co authored a book. I went and spoke at university. So I'm a speaker, an author, a coach. I am doing so many things. And from the outside, people might think, oh, she's so flaky. Like, she's doing human design, she's doing manifestation, she's doing a mindset thing. Why is she not just picking one thing and sticking to it? But guess what? That doesn't work with my energy. And once I understood this, I stopped listening to people and I just do what is correct energetically for me. And this is the empowerment which human design gives you, this is the empowerment you will get once you understand how you're energetically supposed to operate in this world. So, yes, this has been my mission to bring out this information to people so that they can also be empowered with all this wonderful information. And yes, and I am a wife. I have my two beautiful daughters, and that's my pet dog, Cooper. And I'm absolutely like living my purpose. And it's a very funny thing, okay? So when I went on this whole journey, my brother, who's in India, he was very worried for me, okay? So he said, I was at the peak of my career. I had this well-established business, earning a good amount of money, like 6 figures every year, and I just gave it up one day. And he was worried, so he went to an astrologer in India. We have all these astrologers where they give you a prediction, and he just wanted to ask them, like, why is she doing this, what's meant for her. And the astrologer saw my astrology chart and he said, she's meant to be a coach. And he was shocked. So he came and told me, like, I don't know who told you, but you just became a coach, but that's what you're meant to be. And I said, see, I just followed my gut. My intuition told me that that was the right time for me to give it up, because that event business no longer excited me. And that's what people are caught up in this trap. They keep doing things even if it doesn't enlighten them, or it doesn't bring that joy. It's just because they feel that's what they're supposed to do. But it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of, like, knowing yourself, trusting yourself to do things which you're supposed to do. And yes, like, everybody where I work, when I stay in New Jersey, my whole town was like, you're such a gutsy woman. Like, at the peak of everything, you just gave it away and you just started from scratch. Because I knew that was meant for me to being a coach, helping people. This is what I'm meant to do. And I just got this because I had understood my human design. Because after that reading, I just went into this rabbit hole of knowing about human design, reading all these books. And then I was so inspired by this that I actually went and got certified in human design, as I said, level 1, 2, and 3. And now it's my mission to bring this information out through such workshops, through such master classes, to let people know that yes, there exists a tool like human design which will help you to understand you and who you truly are. So, a little bit of history of human design. So, this is the founder of human design, Ra Ru Hu. So, his story is very interesting. Like, he was a Canadian executive from Canada, I think Toronto. And he was also very frustrated with his career, his life. And then he had gone to Spain. He had moved to Spain and he was at a meditation retreat in Ibiza, I think Ibiza, Spain. And one day when he came back to his cabin, so he was living in the woods. So this happened in 1987. He had a very mystical experience. So one day when he came back to his cabin was surrounded with all these beautiful light beams, and they were all like, surrounding that cabin. And then a crystal was implanted in his ear. And that's very true, because we have the nanotechnology where we can insert like chips, like our dogs have, ID chips which are inserted in the back of the neck. Similarly, in that time they inserted this crystal in his ear, and this whole system was transmitted to him. And that was his mission, to bring this human design system to the world, especially for parents, especially so that they can raise their kids to be authentically, like, who they are meant to be on this planet. So the next generation of humanity will be ones who are empowered and not conditioned. So human design it's a very relatively new system, similar to, like, yoga once upon a time was looked down upon. It was considered like, what is this weird thing? Like, some yoga is happening. It came from India. I'm from India, so I know it has like roots in India, but over the world, people didn't know about yoga. But now it has become so mainstream. Like everywhere you see yoga studios. Similarly, human design system has the potential to become that mainstream system soon in the coming years. So right now, people are just getting introduced to it. I know a lot of coaches, entrepreneurs, they are into this. And it's basically, as I said, it's a very powerful self-awareness, self-transformation, and a very powerful deconditioning tool. And it is a synthesis of these four ancient bodies of knowledge, which is the Western astrology, the Hindu chakra system. So if you see all these shapes and figures, all these are called the centers. So they are based on the Hindu chakra system. This circuitry is based on the tree of life, or the Kabbalah. Then, you have all these numbers, number 61, 64. So all these numbers, they are based on the human DNA code. And that is also the Chinese I Ching system. So yes, so human design is a synthesis of all these four beautiful bodies of knowledge. So what is needed to generate a human design chart? So if you have your date of birth, exact time of birth, whatever, like, 5:05 p.m., 5:05 a.m., whatever it is, you need that time, and you need a location of birth. Once you feed all this information, this is how your chart is generated. And then my job, as a human design coach and a reader, is to help you understand this entire chart. So basically, we understand your type, your profile, your authorities, how you make decisions, your strategy, how to attract opportunities. When you're not living your design, it's called a not self theme. And this is the basic we cover, because human design has many, many layers. So initially, the foundational reading is covering this, but as you start living this knowledge, as you start implementing this information, then we go into depth. It tells you exactly what environments are good for you. It tells you, like, what foods are good for you. How do you digest your food? It tells you how you're supposed to manifest. Are you a specific manifester? Are you a non-specific manifester? What is the purpose? So the incarnation cross exactly tells you what is your purpose in life. Why are you born? What are you meant to do on this planet? So it gives you this whole lot of information. Yes, it's a very complex system, but we go step by step, right? So the first thing is, you are led to sign up for this workshop. That means your soul somewhere is ready for this information. Your soul wants to progress and achieve, its goal. And that's why this information is going to help you get to the next level. And this is how, like, your human design chart looks like. We just covered that. So in human design, there are 5 energy types. Okay, so if you compare it to astrology, in astrology, there are 12 zodiac signs. So if you identify any person in astrology, it is by their sun sign. So it could be Cancer, Pisces, Leo, whatever, Taurus. But in human design, you will fall in either of these 5 energy types. So you could be a manifester or a generator, depending on your birth, all the configuration when we draw up your chart. You could fall into one of these, either manifester, generator. Manifesting generators is a combination of these two, projectors and reflectors. Okay, so the entire world population is divided into these 5 types. So the majority of the population is the generator and the manifesting generator. They together form 70% of the population. The remaining 30%, out of that, 9% are the manifestors, projectors are 20%, and only 1% are the reflectors. So reflectors are very, very rare. So if you're watching this, and once if you're watching this online or on the replay, most of you will fall either into generators or manifesting generators. Very rare few of you will be projectors, manifestors, and the rarest, it's very rare to come across, like, reflectors. I'm very fortunate. I have a friend who's a reflector, and just knowing her and how her energy operates and seeing it up close and personal, it's completely a different ballgame. So yes, so there are 5 energy types. So now let's go through each of the energy types, and just I'll give you a little bit of information how that energy likes to operate. So as I said, the manifestors, these are in no particular order, but we like to start with manifestors as they are the 9% of the population. They are the creators, they are the initiators, so if you think of royalty, if you think of all the leaders, they are the ones, like, who are meant to do it, right? And they're the only design who are actually meant to go out in the world and initiate things and to get things done. The other types, the other 4 types, they either have to wait to respond or they have to wait for an invitation to act. The strategy for manifestors is the way they attract opportunities is by informing. When they're not living as manifestors, they have a lot of anger. And when they're living their design correctly as manifestors, there's a lot of peace in their life. And so these are some of the famous manifestors: George W. Bush, Robert De Niro, Maya Angelou. Then we have generators. So Oprah is a generator. As I said, generators and manifesting generators are the bulk of the population. They have access to tremendous sustainable life force energy. So their sacral center, this is the sacral center, it's always defined. So they have this 24 hours 7 access to energy, which they can use it to operate in the world. They are the doers. The whole of humanity rests on the shoulders of generators and manifesting generators, because they are the backbone of humanity. They have so much life force sacral energy that they can create things in this world. So that's why if you look at earlier examples, when I said, there were kings, manifestors, they would give the orders, right? But who would execute the orders? Who had the energy to actually build things? Those were the generators. The most important frustration for generators, as I said, they have the bulk of the population, is a lot of generators have sleep issues. So if you are watching this and if you feel you have sleep issues, and if you're a generator, no, because you are not expending your energy correctly, you're not doing things which really light you up. And generators are the only kind who have to go to bed when they have depleted the energy. They've exhausted the energy in a good way, like, doing things which really lights you up. And when you go and sleep, you really have a good sleep. And that's when you won't have any sleep issues. Plus, if you have generator grandkids or, generator kids, you cannot give them a bedtime, because generators have so much energy. They have to expend it during the day doing what they love to do, because they are here to master things. They are here to build things for us. They are the doers. So yes, they have to expend it. And that's why if you are feeling frustrated, if you have lack of sleep issues, all these things, know that you have to use your energy correctly. Then we have the manifesting generator. This is Tony Robbins. He's very famous, like a life coach. And as I said, I'm also a manifesting generator. So multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate people who are very quick, very fast, doing a lot of things at the same time, skipping steps. And they are here to do and accomplish many diverse things. So if you look at Tony Robbins, just read up about him. He has like, how many, like almost 100 companies or something he's on the board of, and he has like a $6 billion revenue, and he has so many courses. He has this mastery course, business mastery, then he has his personal development, he has audios, videos, he has written so many books. He's written books on money, like, so many things he's doing, but energetically it's correct for him because cohesively it just comes like together. So when I understood about this about myself, I just give myself permission to do things which lights me up, because I know that's where what I'm supposed to do, as opposed to boxing myself and just following like one path, one linear path. I just go wherever my energy is guiding me to go. The strategy is to respond, not self-think, when you're not living in alignment as being a manifesting generator. Frustration, signature is satisfaction. And these are some of the famous MGs. Then we come to the projectors. They form 20%. They are the wise guides for the humanity. So if you have seen Star Wars and you know about Yoda, he was the guide, right? He would give counsel, give advice to people, but he was not actually fighting the war. So yes, projectors are here not to do the work like generators and MGs, but they are here to be the guides, be the advisors for others. So once you understand that about yourselves, if you're working in corporations where you're using your energy incorrectly, then obviously you're finding that bitterness within you, which is you're not self-theme. And once you align yourself with this, then that's how your signature is going to be success. You're going to find success in whatever you do. And these are very relatively new type on the planet since 1781. Princess Diana was a famous projector, Obama, and Ringo Starr, and all these famous celebrities. Then we have the reflectors. As I said, they're a very rare breed. 1% of the population. They are the mystical mirrors. They show us how we are actually doing as a humanity. So they're just reflecting back to us, and they have everything open in their chart. So there's somebody who can fit into any situation. They can be anybody. So if they are in your aura, they can start behaving like you, because they absorb energy from you. So it's very important for reflectors to be in the right environment. Their strategy is to wait 1 month to make a decision from new moon to new moon, so to wait a lunar cycle. And this is a thing about decision making. Like, we think to make decisions from our mind, like make a pros and con list. But human design tells us that we all have a unique way of making decisions. And once we align ourselves with that, we make always the right decision. And making right decision is so important, because making right decisions can lead you to the right careers, right relationships, lot of like right things, whether it's your study, your career, it's investment, stocks, whatever it is, it impacts so much of your life, and we were never taught how to make decisions. So that's why human design is so powerful in that way. Like, it tells you exactly how you're supposed to make decisions. And these are some of the famous reflectors. So yeah, we have come to the end of our human design journey. I know many of you are going to be watching this on recording. So if you have any questions regarding this, please email me at hello@sheetalkurup.com. I would encourage you that if you are interested, schedule your personal human design reading session with me. We will get it done on Zoom, but I need your date of birth, your time of birth, and location of birth. This is very important. Other than if you don't have this information, then we cannot do the reading. The readings are done live on Zoom like this. The sessions are recorded and the sessions are given to you. The recordings you'll have for life, because we cover so much in that 90-minute session that I encourage you to keep listening and then keep implementing, because the founder of the system has said you need to experiment with this information, this system, live it in a daily life, so that you can see the truth of this information in your life. You can experience it and how life changing it is. Because I have personally experienced it. I have read my husband's chart, I have read my daughter's chart, and I understand them so differently now. Like, to give you my husband's example, so he has this very dominant correction energy. So every time I would work out, he would always stop by. He was crossing the living room, he would just stop by to correct me, like, hey, like, you need to like bend a little lower, squat a little lower, or maybe you need to do this. And I used to get very irritated, like, why is he giving me unsolicited opinion, right? I never asked him. But once I understood his chart and I understood this is his dominant energy, like, correction energy, because he doesn't mean harm. That's how he's designed to it, because if he sees something, somebody is doing something wrong, he cannot help himself, but he wants to give his opinion so that he can help you. So he came from that intention. So can you imagine how much friction would have been? I would have been so bitter with him. But once I understood this, then I know that, hey, he means good, he means well, and that's how naturally designed he is. So it's good, like, I should ask him for his opinion whatever I'm doing, because I know he's going to give me the correct answer, or correct guidance. So it changes your relationship a lot with your spouse, with your family, your parents, your kids. The way it has changed my relationship with my kids is, my both my girls are projectors, and their energy operates differently. They are not energy beings, in a sense, like they have energy only for a certain number of hours. As I said, generators manifesting have this so much sacred energy going within them, that they are like the ever ready battery, like, from morning to night they can just keep going on and on and on. So when we would go for vacations, me and my husband, because he's a generator, I'm an MG, we would just have it like a full schedule packed, morning till night. We want to see so many things, but my daughters couldn't keep up. So ever since I understood that, I always gave them the option of taking a break. Like, hey, like, you guys are tired, feel free, go to the hotel room, take a nap, rest, whatever it is. But me and dad, we want to go and see this, so we will get it done. And it just worked. So yes, it's very powerful, because it helps you understand your relationships better with your family members, and then you can, like, be more empathetic, more compassionate towards the other, rather than being bitter, or rather always complaining, like, why are you like this, um even, like, to give you an example, like projectors, if you have a projector spouse, they like to go to bed early. And if you have a spouse who's a MG or generators, they like to go to bed late, because, as I said, they have to expend that energy before they go to sleep, otherwise they're going to have sleep issues. So once you understand that, then you're okay with your spouse going to bed a little earlier, and you understand how each other's energy operates. So this is what we cover in the human design session, like, what are your gifts, what are your talents, how your energy likes to operate. We go a little deeper, how you're supposed to make decisions, like a lot of these fundamental things. And then the next level readings are, obviously, like, I don't do the next level reading until you have lived this reading for at least 6 months, and then you can come back to me and we can go do advanced readings. Let's stay connected. As I said, I'm on Instagram, Sheetal Kurup _. My email is hello@sheetalkurup.com. I'm also on Facebook, Sheetal Kurup Coaching, and I have a YouTube channel, Sheetal Kurup _. So feel free to follow me there. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for listening in, for signing up for this workshop. Know that your soul is ready for this information. Somewhere it was craving for this, somewhere the time has come for you to step into that empowered version, to transform your life, to understand who you are on an energetic level, understand your blueprint, so that you can manifest and all those dreams and goals which you have for your life. Thank you. And I'm going to stop the share, and I can take some questions after this.